Awesome. Hello, everyone. Whoever joined us. Thank you for joining us for this webinar. If you just joined us, we'll be very happy if you can put in the chat where you're from. So we'll have some awareness of where you're from. We're very exciting for this webinar. We will start in about 2 or 3 minutes after we let everyone join in. Until then, we can say wherever you guys are from. I see people from North Carolina, from Missouri, New Jersey, Florida, all over. Again, if you just join us, we will start in about 2 minutes. We'll let everyone join us, and on 12 p.m. Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Western Time, and 7 p.m. Israel Time, we will start shortly. So we see a lot of people joining us. If you're just joining us, please let us know where you're from. We'll be happy to share. We see so many people. California, from the UK, we have people. Wisconsin, Michigan. You can be more specific if you guys want. We can say the name of your city. Wow, it's going very fast. From Cleveland, Ohio, Ithaca, New York, Largo. If you want, Nicole, you can help me. If you just joined us,
Yeah, there's so much.
there's so much.
A lot of UK. I love it. So many people from the UK.
I think Photomyne has about like 190 countries that are using the app. But we try to do this webinars in English, so we're promoting them only for English-speaking geos. Yeah.
Oh, South Florida, stay safe. Waiting
Yes.
for Hurricane Milton. Please stay safe.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Columbus, Madeira, Leeds, Washington, Vancouver,
Omaha,
Sussex.
Nebraska, Carson,
Nevada.
Nevada.
A lot of Texas. That's great. Hey,
U.S.
Taco.
citizen in Italy.
Even from
We have
Alaska,
Italy.
people. Rhode Island. It's really amazing this Zoom. Change our life.
I know, right? It's brought us all together.
That's crazy. So my watch say it's now 7 p.m., 9 a.m. Western time and 12 p.m. Eastern time. So we can definitely start. We give about 20 more seconds to people who join. I'm declining the recording because we will record this session and we'll send it to you, a link for YouTube by the end of this webinar. I'm definitely. So I think we're almost ready to start. If you just join us, you can put your location at the chat. So we'll be happy to see where people are from. We do have from all over, amazing and exciting. I think we're ready to start, right? Haleh and Nicole, yes, thumbs up. Okay, cool. So hello and thank you very much for joining us. My name is Miki Atir, and I'm the CMO of Photomyne. I've been working at Photomyne for almost 9.5 years, and I'm very excited to be here. And these webinars that we are doing over the last few months are very exciting. I'm learning a lot about it, and it's very special to meet everyone. Yeah, so we are in a webinar that will help you to understand and learn about your iPhone settings. And will help you to guide you through how to use your iPhone better in a better way. I'm excited to let you know that we are live streaming this webinar on YouTube. So if you have friends or family who didn't register for the webinar, you can definitely send in the link that Nicole will put in the chat for you. This recording will also be available on YouTube after the webinar, and you will get the recording in a post-webinar email that you will be sent tomorrow with additional links that you'll be able to brief all the webinar. Today, we're honored to have Haleh with us, a passionate advocate for preserving family legacies through photos and videos. Haleh founded Picturely to help individuals and families curate, manage, and archive their digital and analog memories. Her expertise lies on creating efficient workflows for photos and video management, ensuring that cherished moments are easily associated and beautifully preserved. In this webinar, Haleh will guide us through iPhone settings. So it will be the general iPhone settings, but also some related topics of photography and video. So stay tuned. I know I have my iPhone ready for that. All Android users, you can definitely use those settings also for your iPad, but it will be mostly for iPhone. Before diving in, just a few housekeeping notes on our end at Photomyne. So I'm always excited to announce that Photomyne is participating, if you remember from our last webinar, in the Gemini competition. So Gemini is the AI tool from Google, where we've submitted a brand new feature that we're working on. This feature will automatically recognize the location where a photo was taken. Sounds amazing, right? But it's possible, making it easier to organize and tag your memories. Well, this feature isn't quite ready yet. You're really excited about this potential, and we'll love your support by voting for us on our submission in the competition. Your vote means a lot for us, and we truly appreciate it. So we don't know exactly what will happen from this competition, but it was a great trigger for us to try to develop something related to AI and help people helping them to recognize the date and the location of the photo. We also encourage users to sign up for our elite program. So it's something that we started about a few months ago, which offers advanced feature for subscribers. So if you are an active subscriber of Photomyne, if you sign up for our elite program, which is a one-time fee, you will get also an option to inherit your Photomyne account, clear more space, a coupon code to give to another family member for 1 year free, and also a lot of other perks. This offer is available only for active subscribers and can be accessed through the app or on our online portal. What you're seeing now is an example of one of our Photomyne Presents videos. So over the years, we collected a lot of amazing stories of people who use Photomyne to scan their photos and discover past memories, where we try to highlight incredible stories from our users. We're always on the lookout for more inspiring stories from your scanning projects. So if you have any meaningful stories behind one of your photos and you wish the world to see it and hear about it, we have a video team that will be very happy to speak with you. So it's really easy to put all the details inside a very short form, and we'll contact you and ask you a lot of other questions to see if it's relevant to make it a Photomyne story. Before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone, and maybe Nicole will help me with that we are asking the questions through the Q&A. Nicole, you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, sure. Just to make sure, I just want to make sure every question is answered. So in the toolbar on the bottom of your, sorry, the bottom of your Zoom, you have the option you have the participants, you have the chat, and you have the Q&A. So if you can ask your question through the Q&A so I can make sure everything is answered and everything is seen, instead of the chat that it can get a bit lost with all the links and all the questions. So that would be amazing.
Thank you very much. So all the questions for the Q&A, and watch out for the chat. So we will put their links for everything we mentioned, and also for other topics that will arise during the webinar. So I know it's a Prime Day on Amazon. If you don't know, Photomyne also have an online store on Amazon, and we are part of the Prime Day exclusive discount. So there's no need for a coupon code. You can just click the link that we'll put in the chat, or go to the Amazon store and search for Photomyne, and you can enjoy the discounts for all our products. Don't worry if you miss it today. We will also send another coupon code that you need to redeem in the post-webinar email tomorrow. Yeah, so this is the second webinar out of 12. So we're going to have a brand new webinar every month, including more webinars about how to use Photomyne, and also about our Amazon accessories. So watch out for any kind of emails that we're going to send, or widget inside the app that will promote our upcoming webinars. But we're very happy to be in the partnership with the photo managers, who have amazing people with a lot of knowledge that can help all of us understand more about how to organize and scan photos, but also in this case, in this webinar, about how to use our iPhone better. So I hope I was quick enough, and thank you so much for joining us today, and over you, Haleh. Thank you.
Hi everyone. And first of all, I just want to thank Photomyne for having me. It's a great pleasure to be here. And I'm just going to share some slides about myself real quick to get it going. This is the Mastering Your iPhone Settings for Optimal Photos and Videos. My name is Haleh Shoa. I founded Picturely in 2016 in order to help organizations and families to organize, archive, and preserve their memories. And so we do three things really well. A little bit more about me. I was born in Iran, and in the picture on the right is the last birthday I celebrated before the revolution hit in Iran, where my family left with basically the shirts on their back and 3 suitcases of memories. I did not know the value of that at the time. It seemed really confusing to me as to why they're not bringing some of my toys or some of the things that were really precious to me. But I'm really grateful that they had the foresight to bring the family memories with them. I found myself in my career, I started to work in advertising. I have worked in many different creative agencies. These are some of the brands that I have launched campaigns for before starting Picturely. And during my stint at Picturely, I actually worked also for Chrome Hearts, which is a $1 billion fashion brand, in order to curate 34 years of their assets. And our specialized services are essentially, we take anything that's analog to digital. So you can see a variance of things that we can collect and take it from analog to digital. And we can take also all the digital aspects of our clients' lives and make sure it's consolidated, sorted chronologically, and we also do heavy curation. And you know, as you can see, we could take an old photo and make it great, but I know Photomyne can do this as well. And of course, we do a lot of gallery wall art, a lot of photo books, and many, many more. So I know that was a really quick introduction to me and my background, but before we start, I really want to talk about the importance of understanding what a sync is versus a backup. So a sync is a two-way highway, meaning if you take a photo, it syncs to the cloud. If you delete that photo, it deletes it everywhere. So it's a two-way highway. A true backup is only a one-way highway. True backup is when you are taking your photo and it requires action for you to be able to download it. At the end of this presentation, I will be giving everyone some QR codes for you to scan. I personally love the company called Backblaze, and I set it up for all of my computers at work, for our servers, as well as for all of my clients. So that is a little bit about that. And without further ado, we're going to jump into our phones. So get your phones ready. And I am going to share my phone with everyone. And my phone is asleep, so we're going to wake it up. And I received a bunch of questions that were pre-submitted from Nicole. So before I get into the deep dive of the settings, I want everyone to learn how to quickly search for things on your phone. So if you just like sort of swipe down in the middle of your phone like this, you're going to get to a search bar. Yours might look a little different depending on what iOS you're using. But the first thing I want to show everyone is that you all should have this app called Tips. And if you click on Tips, it's a really wonderful curated aspect of what is to come and what is on your phone. So I have a iPhone 13 Pro, and I have not updated mine yet to iOS 18. So some of my photos settings might be different than yours if you've updated it, and I'll talk a little bit about the difference. But this is amazing. Go into your tips and you can really learn, like you can preview what is to come on iOS 18 and what are the differences. next steps and things like that. So this is, and also the differences of photos and cameras. I'm not going to go into here, but it also gives you a user guide on your iPhone. I think this is really great, and think this is a good thing to learn. Okay, so I'm going to go back here, and we are going to go into our search bar again. Actually, before going into the search bar, I want everyone to be at the top of their settings, and I want you to just tap on your photo, which is mine is right here. Tap on your photo like that. And I want everyone to go into sign in and security right here. Sign in and security. And Apple just by default will make sure that your two-factor authentication is on. If you do not have that on, I highly recommend you turn that on, not only for this, but for all of your platforms that you use, for your email, for your social media, definitely for your banking. This ensures that you get a notification anytime someone's trying to log in, including you, which is a good thing. So the sign in with Apple is any platform that you have essentially given access to be able to sign in with your iCloud. I'm not going to go into that, but it's good to go in there and see what apps or what platforms have access to your iCloud. They don't have access to your password, but you've allowed these applications to be able to sign in with your iCloud. But the two really important things that I want to talk about here are account recovery. This is if you forget your password or if something happens to your phone, you can allow someone to help you get recover your account back. And then legacy contact. This is really, really important. This is, and a lot of platforms have this. It's a little bit hidden. I know Facebook has it, Google has it, but this is essentially upon death that you will be able to provide access to that friend or family member to be able to go into your iCloud and retrieve your passwords. My sister and my husband are my legacy contact. And so it's just really, really important to have an account recovery and a legacy contact. So I'm going to go back, and now we are going to go back into settings. And this goes really fast. So if I'm going too fast, so please interrupt me and let me know if I need to repeat anything. So I want everybody to go back into the search. Again, the way you do that is you type down and you go into settings like this. You go into settings and search bar and just type in camera. And I want everyone to go into this camera right here, this one, not these other ones. Go into camera, and then I'm just going to take you through some of these settings as to why I have them that way and what they mean. So the very first one is video. I have mine on 30 FPS, but I shoot a lot also on 60 FPS. This all depends on how much space you have on your iCloud, which we will also cover in terms of figuring out, how much space you have and everything else. But if you just scroll down a little bit more, I'm not going to read you all this, but this sort of tells you the file size for each minute that you take according to these settings. Apple does actually have a lot of films that they've hired directors to make films on iPhones. And so my guess is those people have probably used the 4K at 60 FPS. That is an absolute overkill unless you really do want to use the footage and to really cut something that is really important to you, such as a legacy phone. Going back down, the PAL format is great for people who are in Europe, Africa, Asia, and South America. That is not something that is widely used in United States, but you can, and this is just for you to be able to view the PAL settings in case you want to be able to shoot in that. The HDR video, this is just automatically on. I would just leave it at high efficiency. And I'm not going to go into what that all means, but this is essentially Apple's way of making sure you get the best video for the smallest bit size. And I like to have my lock white balance on. That means when you start to record a video, it doesn't change the white balance, because sometimes it focuses elsewhere on the video and not the subject. So that's why I have my lock white balance on.
Hela, they're asking if you can go back for just a quick second and show them exactly where to go. To, what's the icon they need to press in order to go in? There was a few questions.
Sure. So yeah, so you go into the settings right here, and you type in camera. And you don't have to type too much. As you can see, you could just type in CAME and then go into here. I just covered everything in here. Okay?
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. So that was, I just covered the top one right here. So now I'm going to go into slow-mo. Now, I talk a lot about taking photos and videos intentionally. What does that mean? That means like, I have a lot of clients who say, oh, well, I don't know why I have live videos. It just comes on. And we'll talk about that. So, but if you don't know why you have slow-mo videos, then never mind about this section. I intentionally take a lot of slow-mo videos. I have some little kids in my life, and I like for them to act silly and jump up and down, and I take slow-mo videos of them. And for that reason, I do have it on the highest setting, but the high efficiency makes the highest setting actually a smaller file. So so I have mine on this setting. And we'll talk about some strategies on curating some of these things that may be in your photos that you didn't intentionally take. We'll talk about that at the end. So now we're going to talk about formats, and this was actually one of the questions that was posed before this webinar. So Apple automatically sets all of their phones to high efficiency, and that is that either a HEIF or a hike file. That's a proprietary Apple's way a file system that actually gives you a larger color gamut for a smaller file. It's an amazing system, and you probably are wondering why I don't use it. I use most compatible because I want my movies to be .mov and not .hife, and I want my photos to be .jpeg. And the reason for that is because that is where every single platform right now accepts JPEGs and MOVs, but not every platform accepts hife and hike files. Now, if you don't want to download your assets and let's say make photo books with it, then it doesn't really matter. If you just want to stay in the sphere of Apple, then it doesn't matter. You can leave it on high efficiency, and you get actually more, because it's a smaller file, you get more storage for each photo that you're taking. The reason why I have Apple RAW turned on is because sometimes I do like to take raw photos, and that just, you do not have to take that on unless you really want to experiment with Apple's raw photos, which gives you, I mean, as you can see, each photo is about 25 megabytes instead of like 2. So you do not need to turn that on. And the same with Apple ProRes. You can probably turn that on because their ProRes is great, actually. So if there's no questions about this segment, I'm going to go back and go into a very important segment, which is preserve settings. Now, the preserve settings just kind of remembers what you did on your camera, and it locks that in. So I'm going to go all the way to the bottom. A lot of people take live photos and they don't know why. That's because probably this live photo right here is not turned on. So what happens is I'm going to turn on my camera. As you guys can see, this right here, this is live photo. And chances are that you have this probably turned on, meaning it is the, I'm gonna turn it on. That means it's turned on. It doesn't have an X or line going through it. So if I take a photo, it's going to take a live photo. And what is a live photo? A live photo gives you a 3-second video, up to a 3-second video, and a JPEG. So in the background of your iCloud, you have two files that you're paying for essentially. So it gives you a JPEG and it gives you a video. And this is why I don't like live photos. This is why a lot of my clients are always confused as to why it's live. So if you turn this on and then on your camera, turn it off. So if you go into camera, right, and turn it off right here, then you will stop taking live photos. And this way, you can intentionally take a live photo if you love live photos. So, so that is that. So this, I actually do want my Apple ProRes on. Again, that is just because I take photos in a specific way and I like it to remember my ProRes settings. You don't need to worry about RAW. Most people don't take any RAW photos. And so I'm not even going to go into that. And preserving the portrait mode for zoom, you know, that is, if you are zooming in portrait mode, then you can, it preserves that setting. And then night mode is essentially if you want to be able to take some photos. I like it when it sort of gives me the camera figures out the white balance and everything else for night mode. So I don't have that turned on. I want it to sort of adjust it automatically, as well as the exposure adjustment. I don't want it to remember that. I do take a lot of macro photos. So yeah, so, and I go in and out of ultra, so I have that turned on. So if there's no, oh, and creative control is essentially any filters that you use. So if you do use filters, and I will show you what that is, if you go in here and where are the filters? I think the filters are probably in photos, which we'll get to actually. We'll get to that later. So the creative control is if you want to be able to, I don't want to use that because I don't want to filter any photos. But if you turn this on, actually, let's turn it on, and you'll be able to, I can't remember where the filters are right now. Sorry, you guys. But I do know where the filters are in photos, which we'll get to. So, so that is that about preserve settings. Are there any questions about this section before I move forward? Okay, great. Chances are you all have record stereo sound on, which is good. And if you don't, you should turn it on. If you don't know what burst photos are, please turn this off. So a burst photo is, I love burst photos. A burst photos is when you take a succession of photos using your volume up button. What does that mean? I'm going to just demonstrate really quickly. I am going to use my volume up and go burst. Can you guys see? I just took 25 photos. I just took 25 photos of my office, and what it does is it essentially shows you, if you hit select, it shows you all the different photos that you could take. A burst photo is great for movement. If someone's jumping, you could do a burst photo. So when you see people jumping and you can see them up in the air, chances are they used either a video or burst photo. But if you don't know what a burst photo is, and if you don't want to take burst photos, please turn that off because it takes up a lot of storage in your iCloud. So scan QR codes, everyone has it on and everyone should have it on. And if you don't have detected text on, please have it on. And if you don't know what that is, let me know and I can show you guys later. It's amazing. It's incredible. It's essentially when you can take a photo of something that has a lot of text on it instead of typing everything. And then you can essentially take a photo and press and hold on the photo and you're able to actually copy the text. So I use this all the time and it's a really great thing.
Just a
And
quick note, I think that people are asking here. I think there is a slight difference between the model of the iPhones, right? So if they don't see some of the settings, it might be that they're using a different iPhone, maybe a later version.
yes, it could be, or it could be somewhere else.
Okay.
That's right.
Like iPhone SE or something that doesn't have all the new features that iPhone are now.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. I mean, my iPhone is from 2021. So, and it's actually considered old at this point.
Oh.
But so, yeah, and if you've actually upgraded to iOS 18, there's slight differences in iOS 18. That's the newest iOS. But if
Yeah.
you have an older phone than 13 Pro, like if you have an 8, you may not be able to see some of these. You can see most of it, you still have the control over it, but some of these you don't have. Yeah, that's right. A shared library, I do want to mention shared library. My husband and I have a shared library because I was so tired of actually the workflow of me downloading his stuff, curating it, and adding it to our family. It was just too much. So I created a shared library where when I take a photo, it goes into our shared, and when he takes a photo, it goes into our shared. So that is what shared library is. And in this setting, it just basically means that when I take a photo, please automatically share it instead of manually, which you could also set. So that's my friend calling. I'll call her back. Okay, so grid and level. These things are really, really important in helping you take really good photographs. And I'll show you what grid is. So do you see that line that becomes essentially it becomes yellow when it's level? That's telling you that your photo is going to be straight. So now you may be looking at the ceiling and going, but that's not straight, but that's because I'm sort of at an angle, right? But so I actually use this quite a bit in making sure that my photo is angled straight. So these are the things that can really help you take better photos. And the grid is essentially the 9 quarters that you see. And the reason why I mentioned grid is in photography, you want your subject matter to be in the top of the middle or the top grid. So, and by subject matter, I mean people. So obviously this is just sort of a background, and it just helps you with making sure that what you want the person to see is either in the middle quadrant or at the top. And I'm not going to go into the nitty gritty of the quadrants of photography, but having your level and grid on will really help you. If you do have your mirror front camera on, that means when you take selfies and you're wearing a shirt that has writing on it, it's going to be flipped backwards, that's why I have mine off, because I want it not to flip backwards. So that's the only difference. And then if you, you can, some people love being able to view outside the frame. And what does that mean? I'll turn it on for you and you can see. So now you see the top right here and right here, it's grayed out instead of it being black like that. I don't want to see what is not going to end up in my photos. I was actually taking really terrible photos because it was confusing my brain. But if you want to be able to see slightly up and down of how you do it, then you might want to turn that on. So photographic styles, this is kind of cool. Some of you may not have this, but if you go into photographic styles, you can set this setting to sort of like a lot of like influencers or whatnot use these types of settings to sort of take the same type of photos. And it's kind of cool, but essentially it's sort of, I just use standard, but I know a lot of people like rich contrast and vibrant style. A vibrant style is essentially what vibrant style does is it makes your colors more vivid. So the grass is slightly greener, the sky is slightly bluer, and you know, it's really fun to be able to play around in this. So prioritizing faster shooting, and it essentially allows the camera to, if you want to press the shutter and it adapts quickly. And I would just turn all of these on. So it's just easier to be able to navigate with lens correction and macro control. So did we finish everything here? Grid. Yeah. So any questions about camera settings? Okay. I'm going to go back. Okay, we're going to go to the top of the settings again. We're done with camera settings. We're going to go to the top of the settings, and now I want you to all type in photos. Type in photos, and I want you to click on this one right here. I'm just going to give it a second just to make sure, because I know I talk fast. So we're going to go into photos, and we're going to talk about some of these settings and what they mean. Obviously, well, not obviously, some of you may not have iCloud photos on. If you do not have it on, it means what you do on your phone is not being shared to the cloud. So what you do on your phone, meaning what all the videos and photos that you're taking on your phone, isn't being synced to your iCloud. And that's fine, but you just have to remember to make sure you plug your phone in and download your photos. I have clients who don't want any of their assets in the cloud, so they turn this off. But every week on Sunday morning, he goes in, plugs his phone, and downloads everything. So, so it's just a matter of preference. And then what is the difference between optimize iPhone storage and download and keep original? This is super important for everyone to understand. Because our phone has limited space, and because some of us, especially if we have little ones or we just take a lot of photos, our phones probably doesn't have enough storage for us to be able to download and keep the originals. So what happens is that Apple sort of figures out a way to just not give you the high-risk files on this device. In iCloud, it has all of the original files. So if you go into on the internet and type into your iCloud and go into your photos that way, it has that. My personal workflow is I have many different computers because of the business I'm in, but I also personally have many different devices. On my phone and on my iPad and on my laptop that I share with my husband, I optimize iPhone storage turned on. However, on this computer that I'm talking with you on, I don't. I have download and keep originals, which I download to an external hard drive. I have my photos and videos that's attached to my iCloud on an external hard drive rather than a computer. And I back that up to a different cloud system, a one-way backup. And I do that on Backblaze. I love Backblaze. I will give you a QR code for you to be able to sign up and explore it. It's like about $60 a year, and it backs everything up on your computer, including any hard drive that you attach to it. It's a really, really great service. And I don't know if it's available to you where you live, but I know it's definitely available in Europe and in the United States. So again, in terms of workflow, that's why I have optimized iPhone storage turned on. Oops, hold on, let me go like this. And that's why I don't have download and keep originals on my phone. Okay. As mentioned earlier, I have a shared library with my husband. And essentially you know, we're the only participants. Using Face ID, so when it's good to turn this on, because if you have little ones who know how to access your phone, they might go into your hidden album, and I'll explain what that is. If you have anything that you deem private, whatever that is to you, whether it is your driver's license, secure, you know, passport photos, or personal photos of yourself, for whatever you deem as private, you can actually hide those photos in an album called Hidden. And by using, so you can't access the things that you delete and the things that are in your hidden album without a Face ID. So I turned that on, so because I do have a 9-year-old nephew who likes to get into my phone, and you know, he's nosy, and and I don't want him to mess with actually what I've deleted. I only have our ID cards and things like that in my hidden. I just don't want him to go in there, accidentally delete something. So and then definitely show hidden albums, so you're able to see it in your albums. And your albums, now again, I'm going to go into my photos now, but your albums are going to be in a different place if you are on iOS 18 versus what I'm showing you here. But your albums here are in iOS 18, they basically stacked everything on top of each other. But over here, you click on albums and you go all the way to the bottom, and you'll see at the very, very, very bottom, you'll see hidden and recently deleted, and they're locked. You need my face in order to unlock it. And that's what this is. The auto playing of videos and live photos it's a preferential thing. If you're swiping through your live photos and videos, it essentially starts playing it. If you don't like that because it startles you, you can turn this off. And the HDR is essentially displaying the complete dynamic range of the photos. With HDR, what Apple does is it actually combines several photos, so your sky isn't blown out and your face isn't dark. So it takes several photos and it sort of like composes one photo very quickly on top of each other. You know, I have I have holiday events on and featured content automatically. It's great. And I don't really use this feature, the transferring to Mac, but for me, it's turned on when I plug my phone in. So these are sort of these settings for photos. Are there any questions specific to photo settings? All right. So now we're gonna talk about some tools that come on our iPhones. And before that, I want to talk a little bit about iCloud and like where to check how much storage you have, and then dive into photos and teach you some strategies on how to take photos and how to clean up. More importantly, how to curate your photos, because we just have so much. So before I do that, if you go back into your settings and tap on your face, so mine's here, tap on your face and go into iCloud, which is right here. This one right here. And then over here, you'll see how much space you have and how much space you're using, and more importantly, what you're using it for, right? So if yours is all the way to the right, you're getting close to tapping out your iCloud. And this isn't something that's on your phone. This is your iCloud storage, right? This is the storage that you're paying Apple to hold your stuff in their iCloud. So if you go in here, and again, what I did was tap into manage account storage. You tap it, manage account storage. you'll see what we're doing. We have a 2 terabyte plan, and the family usage is 43 gigs, right, out of the 2 terabyte. And obviously I take a lot more than he does. And you know, you can change your plans. It doesn't really give you a lot of options other than 2 terabyte. I can't even, I don't even know what the lowest setting is now. Okay, I'm not going to go into that because I don't want to waste your time. But you know, then you can kind of scroll down and you'll see how I'm using it, right? So I have a lot obviously in iCloud photos. I have a lot in messages. There are strategies where you can go in and download your photos and videos that people message you, which is a terrible way, by the way, to share photos and videos. And I'll show everyone how to properly share photos and videos with loved ones and family members. And then I use notes a lot, and I will share that with you as to why it's important to use notes and what it can do for you. I do have some voice memos. My father is 97 years old, and as much as I could see him and ask him questions, I turn on the voice memo, put it in front of him, and start asking him questions. Sometimes he gets a little camera shy, so I can't take videos of him, but he often forgets that the phone is in front of him if it's a voice memo. So that's kind of fun. And it's also really fun to be able to record children's voices and voice memos. It's just fun to be able to go back. And then sort of like all of these other things are what makes up my 438.9 gigabytes. So that's how you can kind of see how you're using it. And then over here, I want to go in here. There's so many, excuse me, there's so many programs that we have turned on to push to iCloud that we don't need. And you guys might all have password and keychain turned on. And the reason why I turned it off is because I use 1Password for my password management, for myself, for my business, and from all my family members. I don't like keychain, so I have that turned off. But if you don't have a password manager, please use keychain because you should have a unique password for all your passwords. I do have notes turned on, and I will talk about the importance of using notes for some things that you want to keep outside of your photo library. I'll get into that. So some of these things I do have turned on, but then pretty much everything else is turned off. I don't even need that, and I actually don't even need that. So I have my calendars turned on. I don't care about maps, you know, and this doesn't mean if I'm turning these off, it doesn't mean that it won't work for me. It just means that the weather that I have on my phone is not being uploaded to iCloud. It's like, who cares? I don't really use that for that purpose, right? I do use Acrobat a lot, but I do encourage you guys to go through all of your all of the things that are pushing to iCloud and turn it off if you don't care for it to live in iCloud. Just turn that off because it's taking up space. All right, so iCloud, so we talked about that. Let's see. Okay, we talked about all of that. Right. Okay. And you do want to turn on access iCloud data on the web. So before I dive into photos, I do want to talk about notes. So so let's go and talk about some strategies. So first of all, if you're not using notes, it's really a wonderful program. You can, instead of taking photos of recipes, you could use notes and take photos of recipes in here, such as this. Because it's going to get lost in your photos. You're going to be like, where's that dry rub recipe that I really want and use 5 times a year? Oh, it's in my notes. It's under recipes. So I highly, highly, highly recommend using, I don't know why my COVID vitamins, yeah, stuff, Like, for example, I have to manage my mom and dad's affairs. So I have all of their, house stuff and their medical cards, and all of their stuff is in notes. And I share that with my siblings. So they also have access to it. But let me just share with you, you could just do a quick note. And as you can see over here, you can not only type things, you can not only have your to-do list, but if you go into here, if you take a photo, you can either choose a photo and put it in notes. But if you take a photo here, and I'm going to take it here, like I'm just going to take this photo here, right? And say use photo. And if I go into my Photos app, it doesn't show up here. So this is going to be like a kinetic memory for you to remember, like, wait, I know she told me somehow to take photos, so it doesn't show up in my Photos app. Just remember notes. It's great. Another thing you could do is you can actually scan a document, such as I'm gonna just show you how great this is. You can actually scan a document. It just does it for you. I didn't even have to do anything. So I can hit save so you guys can see what that looks like. Look at that. It just scanned that. And the thing about having turned on detecting of text, this is where it comes in. Whether you're in notes or in photos, if somebody's saying like, what is the serial number for that? I can go in and press long hold and it says copy. I can copy. Select all, or I could just copy just a segment of it. It's really great. I use this all the time. I don't type in anything anymore. I just use the select text. So so notes is great. Get used to it. Please use it. It's really wonderful. And you can so you could do a folder, which is right here, or you could do a note, which is right here. I suggest starting with a folder and putting notes in there. And you can also on your computer, you're able to actually basically organize everything in folders, and way easier than on your phone. So that's a little quick note about notes. Now I'm going to dig into photos. I have a lot of clients saying, I don't know how many photos and videos I have. Again, if you have iOS 18, all of the stuff I'm about to show you is stacked on top of each other. It's all there. It just doesn't look like this. So if you go into your library and all photos and scroll all the way to the bottom, this is how many photos and videos I have. If this number is different than the number you have in your iCloud, meaning when you type in your information on Chrome or on Safari to get into your iCloud, then there's something wrong. Then something is not syncing correctly. So what you want to make sure is like, so if I go into my iCloud right now, which I'm not going to do, but if I do, you're going to see this exact number in my iCloud in here. So make sure if you don't know if they are, just log in and check it. So now we're going to go into albums. And if you're on iOS 18, just scroll down to albums. So go into albums. And I'm going to talk about shared albums. Shared albums is great. I think a lot of people use it. It's easy. You put all your family members on it and everybody adds their photos and videos, and it's really wonderful. So shared albums is a web gallery. What it does is it holds all those photos and videos at approximately 50% of their original size, which is not great. It's a good way of making sure that you sort of receive the family collection with your entire family members. However, it is important to understand that this is not the highest resolution of what you want. So if you ever want to make a photo book, they're going to be at 50% of their quality. So if you ever want to make a video montage, they may look pixelated. So it's important to know what shared albums is good for. I use shared albums to actually delete things out of my photo library. What does that mean? I'm going to go into our house thing. This is our house sort of shared album. It has all the different paints and all the different projects that we currently are working on. I have 44 videos in here and 44 photos and 3 videos. What that is if you put something in a shared album, so for example, if I go in here and put this in a shared album, and usually for what I'm telling you right now, share this album with yourself. Okay, so I'm going to add this shared album, which is shared with myself and my husband, and I'm going to post it to that house photo. Then I'm going to delete it here. So I've deleted it off of my photos, but if I go back into my shared albums, it's still here. It's still here. I can still use it. I can still share it. I can still text it. I can put it in my drive. I can do all the things with it, but it's less of a quality than what I had taken before. So if you have a lot of recipes, for example, in your photos, and you don't want to take a look at the recipes, I recommend putting those in notes. And once you put them in notes and delete them out of your photos, it's going to stay in notes. It's not going to delete over there. So this is really, really, really important. This is only works with shared albums. It does not work with regular albums. Okay, I'm going to repeat that. If you put photos in regular albums, and by regular albums, I mean non-shared albums, I mean like this, like, this, for example. If I delete something from my library, any of these photos, it's going to delete it from the library and from the regular album. But if I delete it from here, it won't delete it out of my my library. I hope this makes sense. So if you take your photos, select your photos, and add them to a regular album. Let me see. Let me take some photos in here that I don't care if I delete. I don't care if these get deleted. So if I go here, and if I make add it to an album and call that save a photo, sure, save, yes. And add it to an album. Come on. And call it a test album, or I'll call it Photomyne. Photomyne. And I save it. So now it's just a regular album. And if I delete it here, I'm going to delete my photo here. If I go into my Photomyne, now you won't see my photo in here. But if I delete it here, just deleting it from the album, you will be able to see it here. Okay. So, but if you do a shared album, again, it's a shared album. If you go down and you do a shared album, you're able to collect your things in that shared album and delete them off of your photos. So that's one strategy that I use and I teach in order to clean up your stuff. Another strategy is going all the way down and going through the different media types as well as duplicates. If you do see you have X amount of duplicate photos, you should clean that out and merge them. Somehow in the transference of all the different platforms and things like that, and I don't know how duplicate photos get in there, but you can click on it and hit essentially hit merge all, and you'll see what it's going to merge. It's going to merge all the keywords, and it's going to merge if the highest resolution, and it will essentially clean up your photos. So yeah, and then also you may have thousands of screenshots. So this is one really easy way to go through and select all. and start deleting some of your screenshots. I have kept these screenshots for very specific reasons. So I'm not going to delete mine, but I go through regularly and delete my screenshots. So that's another easy way to start cleaning up your stuff. If you don't take time lapses intentionally, if you don't take slow-mos intentionally, these are video files. They take up a lot of space in your iCloud. And so go through and, I love taking, these types of movies. I love them. I enjoy them. I do things with them, and we do them for work purposes. As you can see, these are all work stuff. So, but yeah, I do take a lot of movement. That is good for um, whatchamacallit, time lapse, and slow-mos are really fun as well. But if you don't take them intentionally, please go through and delete them. They take up a lot. And then, of course, live photos, it is what it is. Just understand that it is a photo and a video. And then, yeah, and then hidden as and recently deleted. Of course, if you delete something, you can always retrieve it. It'll be in there for at least 45 days. So that is the albums. And then if you have not done this, please go through and tag family members. You could do this on your computer. You could do this here. These are all my immediate family members, and then pretty much everyone else that is in my photos. I just went through and named pretty much everyone that I know in my life that I take photos with. So these and some of these I haven't tagged yet because they're just not family members and I don't really care. So please tag people, and in the background it will find faces when the computer and your phone is shut off. That's the way Apple works. It does it in the back. It doesn't do it right in front of you like Lightroom. And then another amazing tool that is on our fingertips, if you have location setting turned on, which means, and I can explain where that you can find that. You can go into places. So when you take a photo, you can go into places, and if somebody says, show me some photos from your trip to Croatia, I can go into Europe, and I can go into all the different places that we went in Croatia. I can just like quickly find exactly where that point was when we went and saw the lake or whatever it was. This is a really, really, really incredible tool in order to be able to easily find your things. This is the first thing I check for my clients. If they say, I ask them, have you been on any trips? Yes, we went to Portugal. And if their photos aren't turning up here, it's because their location isn't turned on. Now I'm going to show you how to do that. I know I'm moving really fast because it's 10 o'clock. So if you go back into your settings and you type location, and you go in, I don't do this all the time, but I think it's in this one right here. Yeah. Okay. So you type in location. I'm going to go back so everyone can follow. Type in location, go into this privacy and security thing right here. Privacy and security. Go in here. And this is actually really, really important for you to see. You could see all the apps that are essentially following your location. I have, I go through this all the time because apps are, I don't think most apps need to know where my location is, right? But I definitely have it turned on for my camera because I want to easily be able to find it. So you definitely want to go into your camera and have while using the app. If you don't have this turned on, then you won't be able to find your photos in the map section right here. Okay, I am going to look at my notes to make sure I haven't missed anything. Bear with me. Media types, okay. Okay, yeah. Oh, okay. Another one last thing about curation. We all have so many things. I mean, look at me. You have 23,000 photos and 1,800 videos. So another way of like curating, another strategy in curating your stuff is just take today's date, whatever today's date is for you. Take this date and go into different years. So take today's date for this webinar is October 9th, 2024. So go to October 9th, 2023 and see how many photos come up for you for that day. And then go to 2022 and then so on and so forth. And in 365 days, you will have a curated library. You can put things in albums, you can delete things, and you can, go into, photos and change some of the metadata. And with that, that is really important. If you do use your phone to take old photos, I will show you something. You can go into the phone. Let me see where I am. Go into the phone and hit this I right here. You see this time? Right here? Let's say that photo's of your grandmother from 1931. You can adjust it. So in your photos, it will come in the year of 1931. So if I, original is this. Unfortunately, I can't type in the adjustments. Sometimes it's easier to do some of these strategies that I'm showing on the computer. It's very important to note that changing the photo, that Apple's photo system is non-destructive. What that means is Apple just gives you a layer to work with, but the original photo that's in your iCloud, it doesn't change the date of your original photos in your iCloud. So it just changes it for you to be able to view it. And it only changes it to the date that you have if you export your photo library. But if you export your photo library, then all of your photos and videos will be the date of the export. Now, this is getting into like photo organizing high level, but it's just for those who understand what I'm talking about, essentially just understand anything that you edit is not going to get saved. Like if you go through and edit it, unless you export it. Okay. So, so that's another thing. And with that, I just want to make sure I pause right here and see if I can answer any questions.
That was amazing. Thank you so much. So much
Oh,
information. I think a lot of people wrote here that it was fast, but I can assure everyone that we will send the recording and you can view it on YouTube and pause wherever you want to get your phone and work with that. So I guess Mary and maybe Nicole have some question they have from like people who wrote in the Q&A. So if you want to take it from here, we'll be happy to. So we have a few minutes for like Q&A.
yeah, and I also have some I also have some QR codes on some of the things that I quickly mentioned, which I will give everyone a chance to be able to take a photo of the QR code or just use it to have the memory in their phone.
Awesome. Okay, so Mary or Nicole?
Yeah, Mary, go ahead if you want to start.
Sure. So all of the questions for Hallie in the document. Hallie, are you seeing the document that
Oh no. Okay, I'll go to the document. I'm just looking at
I
everything.
can also tell you, but there's quite a few, so I don't know if you want to kind of go through.
So okay, move photos to Google. Okay, I'm the first one, analog phone. I don't know how to answer that. This is This class is not about analog phone, it's about iPhone, so no. The syllabus is what we're doing right now, so we are done with that. How to move photos to Google Photos. The question is, why would you want to go to Google Photos? But you just turn on your Google Photos and then just understand that it's really difficult to get your photos out of Google Photos. I have all the platforms. I use Google, I use Amazon, I use Apple, I have everything. But I was on an Android until I bought this exact phone in end of 2021. So of course my entire photo collection was in Google, but I would curate it and I would put it in my iCloud. So my iCloud photos are up to 2021. It's very curated. So it's just
I will add to that for a second that in Photomyne, if you wish to export the photos to Google Photos, it's easy. So you can select the photos and connect your account to your Google Photos account. And then all the photos will be exported as a Photomyne album inside the Google Photos, and then you can add the dates and the location. I have to say that once you move the photos from Photomyne to Google Photos and you did the tagging in Photomyne, it will not be there in Google Photos because of privacy. It won't allow us to share the data, so you have to re-tag it again. But yeah, if you want to export, it's totally fine.
Yeah, okay. That's great. So how do you sort photos in iCloud? Honestly, use your computer if you can. It's really, really hard to use iCloud. And of course, I know a lot of people have iPhone, but a PC. So I don't have PC. I don't use PC. I apologize. I'm entirely on a Mac system, but using photos on a Mac on the computer, so much easier to move things around. I just saw someone saying my albums are not in alphabetical order, but if you log in, you can make them into you can sort of move them around. How do I
I
sort
would
photos?
suggest maybe to show the QR codes now, because I see some people that are leaving the
Yeah,
webinar.
sure. I can share the QR code really quickly with you guys. I'm going to share this again. So I mentioned Backblaze. Backblaze is great. You can upload your computer. It just does everything that are assets on your computer. It doesn't do your programs. So if your computer dies and you had an old program on there, it's going to die with it. But it does back up everything on your computer, including what you have plugged into it. So if you have an external hard drive plugged into it, you can use Backblaze. So that's one thing. And another thing is I set up Forever for many of my clients. It's a wonderful platform to be able to curate and put all of your photos on Forever platform. If you use this QR code, you will be part of my, you get a 2 gig storage for free. So you can kind of play around with it. One of the things that I love about Forever is that you can actually change the metadata of your photos and videos straight on the platform, and it sticks to it. So if you're taking old family photos on Photomyne and you want to be able to change the metadata of that, you could use Forever and go in there and say was December 31, 1930. And it will sort that out for you. And this is why I'm mentioning this, because I know a lot of you guys are DIYers, and you really should have your library sorted chronologically. It's really, really important especially if you want to pass that on. And then, of course, I have created a 7-step guide to archiving your photo collection. You can visit picturelifecurated.com, picturelifecurated.com. One word, no dashes or anything like that. You can sign up to get your 7-step guide to archiving your photo collection, and you can get in touch with me. You could follow us on social. We do a lot of content about all of these little tidbits. It's really quick, sort of less than a minute content about all of these things that I'm talking about all the time. So, and that is basically how to get a hold of me. But we can certainly go back and do the Q&A.
Yes, definitely.
I know there's a lot of questions about the notes.
Yes, there was a question here about
Yeah, so let me go back to the Q&A, please.
so how do you set up folders and use them?
Okay. let me,
That was
you
one of the
basically,
questions.
you basically go into notes, and on the bottom left of notes, there's a little folder with a plus sign. On the right, there's a little rectangle with a slash
You can
through
share
it.
your phone, it will be
Bottom
easier.
left is the folder. The bottom left is the folder.
If you can
Okay.
share your phone, maybe, then
I can, absolutely. I'm more than happy to. So this is a folder. And this is a note. I know there's this webinar should really be two parts because I know there's too much to go through.
It's all okay. It will be in the recording and people can view that.
And then so I'm just gonna keep reading the questions unless you guys want to read them out to me. I have saved thousands of photographs on CDs. Okay, CDs. Oh my gosh. Please get them off the CDs. CDs go bad. CDs get scratched. Yes, get them off a CD. Get yourself a really good external hard drive, a 4 terabyte hard drive. Now, I know there's a lot of people on here from different countries. You can get a 4 different hard drive on Amazon for about $100. And you just get a CD player, plug it in, and just start transferring everything. Do not use CDs as a storage. Please do not do that. So, yes.
I have another one. Which is better, burst photo or video for taking sport action shots?
Well, do you want a video or a photo? If you want a photo, burst is great. I do a lot of burst. I have so many fun burst shots. And I've been doing it for years. But video, somebody had asked previously, how do you take a picture of the moon?
Yeah,
Right.
A lot of
Nice
people are
shot.
going to want to know that. So I'm going to show you guys. I mean, I don't have a moon in front of me, obviously, but we'll pretend. Okay. You are going to go into your photos. Ready, you guys? This is fun. You're going to hit video. And some of you guys may have this little caret up top, but some of you guys may not. But if you hit the little caret up top, then you get into the settings that I turned on for myself, like all of these things, right? So you want to click on this guy right here. Click on that. And this is, I'm showing how you would take a photo, preserve a photo of the moon. So, so you click on here and you go all the way down. So you make it dark, you make the exposure 2. And let's say that light in the distance is the moon. You click on here and then you press and hold. So did you see the AEAF lock come on? So what you want to do is go down and see at that point, we're just pretending like that's the moon, right? And then take a video. If you can see with your eyes that you can see the details of the moon, then hit record. And you can go in there and then go through and take a screenshot of it. That's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it is through, you can take a photo and do the same thing. Go here, click on here, press long hold to lock this, and then bring this lever down on the right. I'm just doing it with my finger. Just bring it down on the right like this until you can see the details of the moon, and then take a photo. That's how you take a photo with your iPhone of the moon. However, I say this to everyone, if your camera lens is dirty, nothing's going to come out right. So I should have mentioned this in the beginning. Please, please, please make sure you clean your camera lens with whatever you're wearing. Just clean it like this. Every time before taking any photo, every single time. Every time. And then this too, this is also a camera lens. This is your selfie camera lens. Clean it. Otherwise, all your photos are going to be terrible. So any other questions? that are pertinent?
There's a lot of questions.
Maybe we should do this again.
We'll definitely do that again, and you can also contact like via email or for the links you provided. Let's see if there's anything. Let's see.
There was a few questions about location, and like how exactly to tag your location, I believe is what it was.
Tagging
When you were in that,
location or turning on location settings. So when you
I
take
think
a
it
photo,
was, yeah, I think it was turning on the location settings.
okay, I'll share this again. So you go into settings, and my settings is right here. If yours is not right in front of you, always swipe in the middle of your screen. I don't know if you guys can see me, but just go like this and just swipe down like that. And then put in settings, right? Just SET will bring up the settings. And then I already have location. So basically in the search bar, I use search bars for everything. We have too many things in our settings and in our phones, okay? I don't know where a lot of my apps are. So I use the search bar constantly. So you put in location like this, and you go into share, location. You go into this one, the privacy and security. And then you scroll down to camera and make sure you have that turned on. Okay, anything else?
There was a few questions about the Pro Raw, that they don't see it on some of the phones, so maybe it's only for like Pro phones, I guess.
Maybe, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, most people don't need it, so it doesn't, honestly, they don't. If you want to start taking pro photos, just buy a camera, honestly. Like it's, yeah,
Um,
not
And I
understanding.
was gonna say, oh, sorry. I was gonna say another question was sharing with Android users, how to share your library
Share your library with whom?
with
with
Android.
Android phone users.
You can't.
Okay.
Apple does not allow any cross pollination at all. So I'm gonna go to some of the questions that were, maybe if I answer some of these questions that were submitted. There was a lot of device specific questions. Again, go on tips. If you use tips on your phone, just search for tips, TIPS. You'll be able to see some of these questions that were about device specific questions. Shooting techniques. The biggest was, how do you shoot a moon, or when you go to a concert? The same thing. When you go, if you're shooting at a concert or the moon, you use that the levers that I showed you guys. Tips for taking good quality group photos. Oh, I'm gonna share my screen again because this is kind of important. So do you guys see my screen? Let me see.
Yes, we do.
See
Yes.
my screen. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we do.
When you go in here, I stay away from 0.5. I'll show you why. Do you see how, like, this is like what we call fisheye in photography. It basically curves the end of photos. So a lot of people get really close to the subject matter and they use 0.5. So everyone's face at the end becomes really elongated. So get away from using 0.5 unless you're doing scenery. If your scenery gets a little garbled, great. So try and stick to 0.1. As you can see, it's, you can see this painting. It looks like a rectangle, but if I go into 0.5, it's starting to look really weird. But in terms of a group photo, I tend to step way, 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 way back and use 0.3. I like that better. I like the 0.3 camera. So that's how I would take group photos. Tagging people in photos, you have to go into people and tag people in photos. Texting photos is not a good way. Oh, right, I didn't share that. Yes, sharing photos, really important. I forgot to share that. So, everyone go into their photos. Select the photos that you want to share with your friends or family members. Click the share button right here. If they're close to you and you both have an iPhone, well, you would both have to have an iPhone with everything I'm saying. If they don't have an iPhone, you're gonna have to send it to them via messages. But you can airdrop it to them. But the best way to do this is sending them an iCloud link. iCloud link. That's the best way to share photos and videos. Because what it does is it extracts those photos and videos from the iCloud and it gives it to them at the highest resolution possible.
And
So
it keeps the
that's
metadata also, like when I share to
Yeah.
iCloud link.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
important.
Mm-hmm. It's really important. I know we have a lot to cover. So do you guys have anything else you want me to?
I think we can answer one or two more questions.
Sure.
Anything specific or special that you want to address? And if not, we'll just wrap it up. And of course, this recording will be available on YouTube and we'll send it a link post the
Oh,
webinar.
someone had asked about how to take great photos of hold on, of succulent plants. Well, I mean, I take a lot of close-up photos, so I'll share how I do it. I mean, it's very specific, but so you guys see how do you see this guy right here?
Mhm.
That's macro. That means I'm like literally on top of this plant right now. And if I take a photo, and if I go into this, you can like see the hairs on this plant. That's a macro photo. That's how you can take really good photos. Yes, iCloud link expires in 1 month. That's why they have to download it right away. And it goes into their iCloud. So I just saw a note that says iCloud link expires. So that's how you take photos of succulents, bees, and a flower. I take a lot of macro photos of my nephew's eye because he's so cute and I want to get all his eyelashes really big. So that's how you do that. How do you eliminate glare? Oh, when scanning photos with your phone? Okay.
It's a question for us.
The way you eliminate glare is in our studio, because we do everything with a camera scanning, but we have you have to have a light source on both sides of what you're taking photos of. So put it in a shot box. Oh, I'm sure you guys, I think I saw that on your Amazon shot box.
That's a good tip, but also we recommend if you use your mobile phone, if you do it like during like a daylight time, next to a window, so like any natural light will be good enough for taking a photo. Of course, if you do it at nighttime or afternoon, so two source of light from both sides can help you to do that, or put it inside a tent, like a shooting tent can really help you with that.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. There's some other questions. How do you slow the shutter speed for specific effects? They will not allow you to do that. You need a third-party app. You cannot, and even depth of field. You can kind of mess with it, but you really, the depth of field, you could use the macro for photos and you could use cinematic for videos. So cinematic is, am I still sharing or no?
No.
Cinematic is when you go into the camera and this cinematic. So if I'm doing, do you guys see how the background is blurred? You see that? The background is blurred.
Yep.
So it's looking for faces. Cinematic looks for faces and it blurs everything else out. So when I sort of interview my parents and my house is a little messy, I use cinematic.
So I think we need to wrap up.
Yeah.
there's a bunch of questions, but I guess people can email you also, specifically.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And also, as I said before, thank you so much for sharing this with us and answering the questions. It was very informative. I took a lot of notes and played with my phone during the webinar, so it was fun. Of course, this webinar is available on our YouTube channel. We'll send an email with all the links and all the information that we shared through the chat in the post-webinar emails. And of course, as we said before, this is the second webinar out of 12 we're going to have this year. So every month we're going to share a new spotlight on the photo world and photography or iPhone settings. So thank you so much, Mary,
you.
Nicole, Haleh. And have a nice
Thank
day,
you.
everyone, and stay safe
Thank
in
you so much.
Florida.
Okay.
Bye-bye.